God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice for all.
Okay, so as usual, we start with open forum. Our first item on open forum is to remind the voters that early voting is permitted for our November 8th election, and our town clerk, Patty Doobie, has published a schedule for early voting. And Patty, who's with us, if you could just let the public know what the schedule is for early voting, that would be helpful. And you're muted.
Okay, I'm not muted anymore. Thank you, Andrea. Well, Eric had shut off my video on me, so I got confused. Anyway, behind the scenes stuff. We are having early voting for the two elections that we're having November 8th, and they will run concurrently together, just like the elections themselves. It's going to begin Saturday, October 22nd, and run through Friday, November 4th. The 2 Sundays involved in those 2 weeks we won't be having early voting. We all need that day of rest, you know. The first week will run 4 hours each day. The Saturdays are longer days, but the second week it's all 8 to 4, which is the same as our business hours. We anticipate some volume, so we're having them at the old fire station, so that it doesn't interfere with other town offices and business, and it's more space and more open, and it's worked out well in the past, so hopefully it will continue. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Patty.
You're welcome.
Then the other announcement I want to make for folks has to do with the ballot questions. The ballot question concerning Indigenous Peoples Day is not going to appear on the ballot on November 8th. After consulting with town council, we learned that this ballot question can only appear on the annual local election. And because the election in November, on which the 2 other ballot questions will be on, which concern funding for 2 building projects, is considered a special local election. And the Indigenous Peoples Day question cannot appear on a special local election. It has to appear on the annual local election. Our annual local election is in May. And so that ballot question will appear on the May local elections. So I wanted to let folks know about that. So when they get to the ballot on November 8th, they won't be standing there going, what happened to this? So we are only going to have 2 ballot questions on in November, and those will be dealing with funding for 51 Main Street and funding for the library. Okay, anybody else have anything for open forum? Tom?
Maybe we could just take the opportunity, Andrea, to remind people of special town meeting on Monday, October 17th. And maybe Jody or Andrea, if you know, can remind everyone the time and place.
7 p.m. in the gym at Westford Academy.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Let me just make sure nobody has, I don't see anybody from the audience who has anything for open forum. So moving right along to our consent agenda. So on our consent agenda, we have a request to approve the following. A street road closure for maintenance and repair of adjacent railroad bridge piers with masonry work. The applicant is Dylan Finkbeiner from Geostabilization International, Inc. The dates are Monday, October 3rd through October 20th, 2022, during the time daylight hours. And the location is North Main Street intersection to Pine Ridge Road intersection on Bridge Street. We have a request for a flag display. The event is the celebration of Federal Columbus Day holiday. The applicant is Anthony DeLeo. The date is Monday, October 10th. The time is 4 p.m. The location is Westford Town Common. We have a request for the Oktoberfest. The applicant is Sandra Hobby on behalf of Good Pickin' Farm and Nancy Cook on behalf of Westford Remembers. The date is Saturday, October 15th from 3 to 7 p.m. at Good Pickin' Farm at 5 Gould Road. We have an event, a bar mitzvah. The applicant is Anne Marie Muse on behalf of Lazy Bubble LLC. The date is Saturday, November 5th. The time is 3:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Millworks, 22 Town Farm Road. And then for request for use of the town common and the bandstand, the event is the annual tree lighting ceremony. The applicant is Kira Ernest on behalf of the Westford Girl Scouts. The date is Sunday, November 27th, 2022. The time is 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And also for Earth Day, and the applicant is Carol Morse on behalf of Westford Climate Action. The date is Saturday, April 22nd, 2023. And the time is from 2 to 5 p.m. Jody?
Yes, Carol Morse has asked for a rain date of Sunday, April 23rd.
Okay, we'll add that too.
Thank you.
Tom?
I feel like I'm being dense, but for the request for the flag display on the Federal Columbus Day holiday, is that a specific flag or is that just the US flag? What's the flag that will be displayed?
Let me see, is Anthony does not appear to be on, so I don't know the answer to that question. John is holding up, I guess, is that the flag, John?
Yes, ma'am. That's the one he had in his application.
Okay, I saw that in his application, so I
I
guess,
assume that's the flag. I think the only question I would have would be, he's going to follow the protocol.
Right.
Just kind of make sure he understands that.
mhm. Yeah, no,
Well,
yeah,
But not he's going
Tom?
that.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
So he's
So,
not
just-
available. He's not on.
Wait a
So
minute,
apologies if this is in the packet. Is that an official Columbus flag of some sort?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Okay,
Maybe this was flown on the Santa Maria. I don't know.
okay. Okay, thanks.
I'm assuming that's what it is. And then
Okay. I think, so do we want to approve these, but along with, as John said, making sure that Mr. DeLeo knows that if he is flying a flag, it needs to be flown in accordance with the United States protocol. So, so is there, Jody?
You also have a flag policy, so I would include in accordance with the flag policy.
Right. Thank you.
yeah, he says he has read and understands it. I just wanted to kind of confirm that he's going to abide by it.
Okay. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
And is there, a sec- all those in favor? Tom,
Aye.
Anita,
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, okay, our 7:10 p.m. item, we have a request for a common, here's the word that I can't say.
Vittler.
Vittler license
Yeah.
for Samantha Connor, owner of Danta's Pizza and Sub Corp, doing business as Classic Kitchen Cafe at 175 Littleton Road. Patty, I assume everything is in order?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And so is there, and just to alleviate any confusion, it's our understanding that it's a breakfast place and not a pizza place. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor, John,
Aye.
Anita,
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome to Westford.
We all look forward to having breakfast. Okay, we're at our 7:15 PM item, which is a public hearing. It's a petition for a joint or identical pole location. It is a request from Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. Job number 305-65347 to install 2 joint ownership poles, 5-2 and 5-1, and to remove 1 joint ownership pole, 5-50, on Hartford Road, beginning at a point approximately 1,635 feet southeast of the center line of the intersection of Hartford Road and Patton Road, and continuing approximately 100 feet in a southeasterly direction. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Anita,
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so who's here who is here from National Grid? It must be,
It's
Mr.
Vaz Ing, and
Yes.
he also has his hand up, I believe. and-
yes, he does. So can we unmute him and hear about the joint poll?
Hello.
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
Hi, this is Vaz Eng, 1101 Turnpike Street, North Andover, Mass. Represent National Grid. As you said, we're looking to get rid of pole 50-54. It's in the way of the new underground development on Colonial Rose Drive. So in order for us to do that, we're going to require to put 2 new poles in on basically each side of the driveway of the development, which that will feed the development going in. And the pole 50-2 will refeed Heritage Way. And that is all. Thank you.
Okay. I know that, hang on. Let me just ask first if there are any questions from the board. Okay, I don't see any, but from the audience, Julianne Morse has her hand up. So Eric, could you unmute her?
Hello?
Hi, Julianne. We can hear you.
Hi, I apologize. I was running late and didn't hear whether or not you approved the liquor license at Millworks for my son's bar mitzvah.
We did.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I don't see any questions with respect to National Grid's petition. So is there a motion to approve the petition for the joint pole locations?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
All those in favor, John,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Aye. And is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
In second?
Second.
And all those in favor, John,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are at special town meeting. And we have to close the warrant, sign the warrant, finalize motions, and take positions on warrant articles. So I guess, Jody, is the first thing that we need to do is close the warrant?
Sure, that would be great. Close, or vote to close and sign. Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to close and sign the warrant?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Tom,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so, and then we have to take positions, to start to take positions on the warrant articles themselves. There are only, Jody?
Yes, I'm ready to go if you are.
Oh, okay. I was just doing a little intro.
Okay.
So there are only 11 articles on the special town meeting warrant this year or this fall. It is customary that the select board does not take positions on any financial article until the FinCom has met and taken their positions and we receive their recommendations. FinCom is not meeting until after this meeting. I don't know exactly their date, but they haven't met before this meeting. So I'm sorry, when, John?
Thursday night.
Oh, thank you. So there are only 4 articles that are non-financial articles that we can take positions on right now. So, Jody, if you want to go through them, that would be great.
Thank you. So the first article is to approve, Article 1, to approve unpaid bills from a prior fiscal year, and we have no unpaid bills, so we're going to make a motion to dismiss this. And if you want to vote on that, that would be great.
Okay, so is there a motion to support dismissal of Article 1?
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor, Tom,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and Anita?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the next article is Article 8, and the Affordable Housing Trust Committee is asking to decrease the membership. And there is, I believe, Joni Krutu is here to speak to that if you'd like her to.
Okay, why don't we unmute Joan?
They're asking to decrease from 11 to 9 with 3 alternates.
Is she here?
I don't see her logged in.
I don't
actually.
see her logged in, Jody. So,
Okay, well, that's their request, is you go
And-
from 11 to 9 with 3 alternates.
right, and I can just elaborate and say, we're having problems, like other committees, having quorum. And so we are requesting the reduction in the membership. Unlike other committees, we have to go back to town meeting for this because we're required to under state law. So that's why we're bringing it back to town meeting. So if there is a motion to support,
So moved.
Motion to second.
okay, and then all those in favor, Anita,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
okay. Next,
So the next one is Article 10, and the Tax Possession Sale Committee would like their name changed to the Tax Possession Disposition Committee. And I think that Rose O'Donnell is out there, if you'd like to have her speak to this.
she is out there, so why don't we have her speak to this? You can unmute her. She was out there.
Am I unmuted?
You are.
Good. So I'm on the Tax Possession Sale Committee, and this is a hygiene thing, really. We don't only sell parcels that are obtained by the town under tax possession. Sometimes we convey them to the Conservation Commission. There may come a time someday when we would just grant some property to someone. So we would like to change the name from the word from sale to disposition as being a sort of a, it's a hygiene thing. We changed the membership of this committee a few years ago. There were only originally 3 members, and I think we have 7 now because that seemed a better thing to do. And there's one other change in the bylaw we would like, and that's to have the words say, I think it's in here. Can you scroll it up a little? It's in the, there. See the word or, not too much. It should say convey, yes, may sell and or convey, section 48.5. Sell and or convey, so it doesn't say we just sell. That's all. It's no more than that. And this is supported by the entire committee.
Okay. Let me see. Anybody have any questions? Doesn't look like. So is there a motion to support?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor? Anita,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So then the next one is Article 11, which is to authorize the select board to sell 2 parcels of land on Pine Tree Trail and Burn Ave. If you remember, we brought this to you several weeks ago. There's 2 abutting property owners to these very small parcels that have some interest in buying these parcels. So one's valued at 12,600. The other is valued at 12,500. We did notify abutters, but we need town meeting approval. And if town meeting grants the approval, then we will go through a solicitation process to dispose of these 2 parcels.
Any questions? I think we had talked about this before. Okay. Yep, go ahead, John.
I have a question. Are we pretty clear on the boundaries of that part, of those 2 parcels, and whether or not there's enough clearance in there for the roadway? Do we have enough? Can we change that if we needed more for the roadway or anything before we go take it out to or decide to sell it?
My recollection is that the DPW is doing a survey to make sure that we're all set on those properties before we go through the process to sell them, because they are working in that area anyway. So they were just going to make, sure that we aren't selling anything that we need.
So Steve Cronin just popped up. And so Steve, do you want to add anything or confirm what Jody said?
Yeah, I'll confirm what Jody said. So it is our intention, if this is approved at town meeting, to move forward with a survey to determine the boundaries and make sure that we secure portions of the parcel where the roadway currently exists.
Okay.
Thank you.
So is there a motion to support authorizing the select board to sell the 2 parcels of land on Pine Tree Trail and Burn Ave?
So moved.
Second.
How are you gonna do it? Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor, Tom,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Aye.
So the next item is actually, we want to discuss with you and have you consider funding the rec enterprise fiscal year 23 budget deficit of 167,128 using ARPA. And I'm going to have Dan explain that to you, but if you choose to use ARPA, then we just move forward. If you don't, then we need to include that on the warrant. That's why you're talking about it tonight. So Dan will explain what's going on here. Thank you.
Great. So this is a process that we went through last year as well, where we didn't know where the recreation enterprise revenue was going to end up when we were doing the budget process. I'm happy to say that in FY22, we finished 106,000 above what we budgeted. So we made great progress coming from FY21 to 22. However, we are short, according to the DOR guidelines, 317,000. We have to bridge that gap. So in discussing with Jody, the game plan we came up with was to use $150,000 from retained earnings from recreation. They actually they're supposed to be certified with over 500,000 retained earnings. So they're in pretty good shape, and they have a little buffer to get them through the following year as well. And then request the ARPA funding of the 167,128. So if ARPA funding is not appropriate here, we would have to take this to town meeting and request free cash to bridge that gap so we can fund the tax rate.
Jody, and then Tom.
Yes, one other thing Dan and I discussed is, tightening up expenses, because it does appear that some of the attendance at these programs has decreased, and we kind of think maybe people have, stayed home from their jobs or made other arrangements. So we do want to tighten up the budget, so this isn't a problem that we continue moving forward. So we are doing that too, and you'll learn more about that during our fiscal year 24 budgeting meetings.
Tom, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I think Jody got it. Part of this, I guess I was looking for a reminder, maybe Dan, in ordinary times pre-COVID, did this largely operate at break even? And do we think we're trending back there, or Jody may have just answered the question that we're going to make some adjustments to try to get back to essentially a break-even level next year.
So we were never quite breaking even. We always had at least a $40,000 subsidy for the rec enterprise, and sometimes that ballooned up depending on who was on health insurance. But we were definitely a lot closer. We're 1 year back from COVID, and my kids were in the program. They were wearing masks to start the year, so that might have impacted some parents' choices as well. I did look at the enrollment starting for the first session. We had over 120,000 signed up as of the same time last year, which we had 115,000 at that point. So we are seeing more kids enrolled, but it's hard to extrapolate that over the year and convince the DOR that we're going to pull in the full 1.247 million.
Dan, are you talking about people?
No, I'm talking about dollars.
Dollars, okay.
Dollars,
I just wanted to be
$120,000
clear,
so
'cause,
far.
yeah, it
Thank
sounded
you.
like, yeah.
The turnout.
Yeah, so we are going to watch this, but I felt we did need to do some belt tightening, and they have looked at some programs, whether they need to curtail them for the foreseeable future. So it is something we're paying attention to.
Yeah, we did that, several years ago now, actually probably more like 5 or 6 years ago, where we looked at programming and tightened it up a bit, and particularly ones that really weren't being used all that much. So I know we did that. I keep saying 2 or 3 years ago, but that's because I keep thinking that, I keep forgetting that there was a 2-year period where COVID was involved. So it's probably more like 5 years ago now.
The other thing I would just mention is ARPA is, obviously supposed to be used for COVID impacts, and definitely we feel like this is a COVID impact, the decreased attendance, but we feel like for next year, we need to really get this pared down and closer, so.
Any other questions from the board? I don't see any. What's the board's pleasure to John?
Well, I think a lot of this has to do with the COVID effect and pandemic. And so I would be in favor of using ARPA funds for this.
I think it's an appropriate use as well. Tom?
I was just going to agree with John.
Oh, okay. All right. So is there a motion to approve using ARPA funds in the amount of $167,128 for funding for the recreational enterprise fiscal year 2023 budget?
So moved.
Second. Okay. All those in favor, John?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Aye.
So then the next item, because the prices came in on both 51 Main and the library, we thought it was important to bring this back to you so you understand the numbers tonight. So we have presentations from Tom Mahana on 51 Main and Ellen Rainville, and I believe it's Marianne Fleckner on the library, and each presentation will be followed by a brief update on the impact to the taxpayers by Christine and Dan.
Okay, so is Tom, who's starting, Tom?
Yes, I believe he has a hockey game to get to, so hopefully he is here and ready to go.
There he is. Tom?
Yeah, everybody. Can you see me
Okay,
now?
yes. Yep,
Right.
we can.
All right, great. Hi, everybody.
Hi there.
Tom Mahana, Chair of the Permanent Town Building Committee. So I do have a brief presentation if you want me to go through it, and then we can get
Sure.
right on the budget. This is just a little modification of the presentation that we gave at the strategic planning retreat, although we weren't able to actually show the presentation, but we could fly through this. Eric, if you want to do it, or I can share my screen, whatever's easiest. So just a slide, just a little bit of an overview of the town hall complex and what we're going to be focusing on. So obviously this 51 Main project is located at the site of the old fire station. The plan is that fire station would be demolished and the new building would be constructed within the footprint of that fire station. The original fire station was constructed in 1974. It's been vacant now for, it'll be 4 years, which I can't believe, since we completed the new headquarters down on Boston Road. This building, really is not salvageable because of its poor condition. Just also wanted to point out too, if Derek, just go back real quick. So just wanted to point out where the location of the new communications tower was completed, and that was kind of the first phase of the demolition. We had to get all of the existing communications equipment in the tower off the existing fire station. So as everybody may recall, we had an appropriation to construct a new tower, which is now located right on the side of the police station. The existing generator building, which is an appendage to the police department, that will remain. The new building will be constructed right up against that generator building. You'll see that on the site plan. Next slide. A little bit of the timeline. We actually started talking about this project and planning it really almost 7 years ago during the planning of the new fire station. So we also provided some feedback from the town building space analysis task force, which looked at what the space needs and requirements for the next 30 years. Our first appropriation for the project was a 2017 annual town meeting for $60,000 to do the initial feasibility study. We hired Context Architecture, who was also our consultant, our architect on the fire headquarters project. Their study, when they developed their program, they at the time recommended a 2-story, 9,100 square foot building to provide space for all these different needs, the meeting room, police training room, some other meeting and training needs, along with, at the time, office space specifically for technology, facilities, and veteran services. So as a result of that feasibility study, we then followed up with another appropriation to begin the design process, and that was in 2018, another $320,000 to start the design and testing of the site. So as the project has now since evolved, the appropriations for the communications tower that I mentioned previously, that was actually appropriations at 2 special town meetings at 2019 and 2020. So that was about $400,000 total for that project. And so that has now been completed. It's been in service now for just about a year. This project was put on hold back in March 2020 because of the COVID pandemic. Everything just kind of came to a screeching halt. We were at the time, we're preparing to go to town meeting in 2020, but then everything obviously changed with the pandemic. This board back in September 2021 voted for us to move forward again, restart the project with the idea that the original design would stay similar to what we had developed up to that point. But then we also wanted to get involved with the Clean Energy and Sustainability Committee. They wanted to provide some impact and some feedback and some assistance on the whole energy efficiency, sustainability options for the project, and looking at what would be best alternatives for this project. So this board appropriated another $92,000 for ARPA funds in April to be able to use to start studying that, which we are well along on that. So total to date, and I just wanted to make that point out, and we try to make that point at Kimball's too, is that town's already invested or committed almost $900,000 to date on this project, including 5 to 7 years worth of planning too. So we've already made a significant investment here in this project. It will be, our plan, we're requesting just over 12 million for an appropriation for final design and construction funding. So if everything gets approved, the plan is that we expect to be out to bid by summer of 2023 with an optimistic completion date of the end of December 2024. And like I said, that's an optimistic schedule. So And just last note there, just want to point out that, this project has been discussed at well over 100 meetings over the last, 5 to 7 years. And I think I've had to attend every single one of them. So this project we're trying to meet has really 6 key components. And kind of the marquee of the project is the new large meeting / community / training room. That'll be located on the first floor, and you'll see that quickly here with the plans. But we're also going to provide office space for 4 different departments: technology, veteran services, facilities, and also the newly created sustainability coordinator and the wellness coordinator. So really, it's 6 main needs identified that this project is going to address. I'm sure I don't need to explain to this board, what the conditions are of the existing meeting room. I know it's been a while since we've kind of met in that, but when we were still meeting in person, this would be a typical meeting. As you can see, the existing room can only really has seating for about 20 attendees. And I don't think I've ever been to a meeting where there haven't been people standing either in the lobby or in the back or on the side of the room waiting to talk. So it's an inadequate space for the growing needs of this community. Next slide. Technology, they've been located down in the old fire station down off of East Prescott Street. There's a number of issues with this facility. Most importantly, it doesn't meet accessibility requirements for the staff that work there. Some of these pictures kind of show the cramped conditions. The single bathroom that you have to walk up 3 stairs to get into, I don't think that quite is ADA compliant. The servers are located on the first floor garage bays. That's not really a safe area for that equipment. In general, it's just an inadequate facility. But to Mike Wells and his staff's credit, they've done a tremendous job, adapting and modifying that space to make it usable for all these years they've been there. Veteran services, they're located in Millennium along with facilities. The biggest issue with Millennium is the long distance that it take that somebody that would come to this office for meetings with the veteran service agent or for whatever needs. And a lot of the people that use or come to this space are maybe not the most physically able people, and it's a significant distance that these people have to walk just to be able to get to the office. It's probably about about 100-yard walk from the closest parking space. And the next slide, it just shows you the facilities department. They're also located in Millennium. We've talked many times about the condition and the age of the Millennium building. It's not a long-term structure. The facilities department really needs they need a long-term solution for their space and for their staff. They currently share their space with veteran services, and one of their biggest needs is they need more space for file and plan storage. Site plan may be a little hard to see here on the screen, but the new building is within the existing footprint. The point that I wanted to make here on the site plan is we're not taking away any of the existing parking. Most of the existing parking lot will remain because we're going to be able to get most of this building, close within the footprint of the existing building. And we're also, regarding the Memorial Courtyard, we're trying to minimize the impact to that space. However, with the demolition and construction of the building, there will be some impact, but we're just trying to modify that as much as we can. Next slide. So these are the floor plans, first floor and second floor plan. So first floor, obviously the community room that has a space for seating of up to 100 people. We also have included 2 movable partitions to be able to partition off that space. You could have hold multiple meetings or activities within that space. We have a small conference room for breakout meetings or just in general for general use. But also one of the big changes from our 2020 design to now is we were able to move the Veteran Services Office down to the first floor off of the lobby. And, that was a big improvement for a number of reasons. Not only makes it easier for people coming to meet with the veteran, with the veterans agent, it's much easier accessible space than having to go upstairs, but it also provides some activity on the first floor of this building during the day. And I thought that was a nice improvement over the previous design. And then on the second floor of the plan to the right, it shows the space upstairs for our IT department, including the staff, staff workstations, server locations. They also have a space for their storage and kind of their work room, along with adjacent office space for sustainability coordinator, wellness coordinator. Facilities department has space for the director plus a staff of really, at least four additional staff, and space for their plan files. Upstairs is a break room, the bathrooms on both floors, and also provide adequate space for mechanical and electrical needs. And you'll see on the first floor up in the upper left-hand corner, it shows the existing generator building and our communications equipment that's connected into the tower. So that all that equipment will remain. The new building will get built right up adjacent up against that existing space. So this is just a little bit of a blow up of the meeting room, kind of what I already said. We tried 2 retractable walls, seating for up to 100, and we'll be able to provide, plenty of seating for large crowds and joint meetings. For most of the meetings that we held when they were in person, this meeting space should be more than adequate to accommodate crowds. Plus, there's also a large lobby. I should have pointed that out off of the meeting room, so that as people are waiting or leaving the meetings, there's plenty of space out of the lobby to be able for people to congregate and not impact what might be going on in the room. And then lastly, the key point is when we built the new police station and combined dispatch center, we essentially, as a community, made a commitment to the police department that we took their training room away to build combined dispatch. And it was the understanding that when we built the new building, we would be restoring that space for them. And that's one of the key points that we wanted to solve with this project, or key commitments, I should say. Next slide. Just a little bit about the energy conservation and sustainability goals. And again, the involvement with the Clean Energy and Sustainability Committee, Mike Berlinski and the rest of the committee have really been vital with participating, working alongside not only our committee, but our consultants. And so these are some of the key goals of this project. Just highlight some of them: the healthy interiors, high recycled content materials, importance of having, as much natural light, in all the spaces, low flow plumbing fixtures, and the key here, the high efficiency electric heating and cooling system through the use of, air source heat pumps, automatic temperature controls, energy management system, and high efficient LED, lighting with occupancy centers throughout. And then lastly, the building would be designed to support a solar PV system. Right now, that is not part of the project. The actual solar array is not part of the project, but the building will be designed to be able to support it. Next slide. Just some more specific goals of the of the project as far as energy conservation. So the goal from a thermal envelope is an R value of 25 on the walls and 40 for the roof. That exceeds current minimum code requirements. We have our heating and cooling systems will have an energy use intensity approaching 25, which is which is very, very efficient. Providing healthy indoor quality. We brought on sustainability and energy consultants to make sure that these metrics are met. And but also most importantly too is that this project, will be a highlight of the town's commitment to net zero emissions. And I think that's something that, if this project does move forward, we could all be, all be proud of if that is accomplished. Next slide. So the big number here, the updated number. So what we did was the last number that was presented to this board back in September. At the time, we were looking at about a $9 million project, a $9 million figure. We are now just about complete with the design development phase. So we asked Context in their third-party cost estimator to take another look at the costs and some of the design changes that we've made since September, just to kind of see where we're at. And as everybody knows, that with all that's been going on in the world and the construction industry and supply chain issues, there's been significant impact on costs. And so where we're at right now is we're looking at a total of just over 12 million. This includes direct, construction costs of the building, $9 million. I should have pointed out earlier that the building size is 9,500 square feet. It's just under 10,000. So this is kind of how these costs break down. So the demolition cost, the hazardous materials abatement adds another 235,000. All the OPM fee, A&E, OPM commissioning and testing fees, about 1.2 million. FF, what we call fixtures, furnishing, equipment, FF&E, that's another 300,000. We've carried some allowances for to relocate technology and to move not only the department but also some utility fees. Again, that's a conservative estimate. And we've got some built-in allowances. And as I have a little footnote down there, we also built into the construction cost. We escalated the cost out to summer of 2023, assuming when we even did this project. So we've got allowances built in for that. The fact that we're only at design development phase, we've built in allowances for that. And then at the end of it, I threw on another 10%. And so it's a very conservative estimate. I realize that, but we're still concerned that we haven't completed design. We're going to town meeting with a number that we have not bid. So we just want to make sure that we have a conservative enough estimate that we feel will be adequate for the project when we do go out to bid. I did have another independent person take a look at this quickly. Thank you, Tom Clay, for putting me in contact with Alex Mancuso. He was great. Got back to me with some good information. He kind of confirmed that he's somebody that's very involved in the construction industry, and he confirmed that he thought that our numbers are we're good. They're probably on the conservative side, which is really what I wanted to hear. So that's pretty much the presentation. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I guess I'm not seeing any questions right now. Tom, go ahead.
Tom, for you and the committee, much gratitude for all the hard work you do. It's a big job over a long period of time. And I think that we definitely owe it to our valued staff to have them operating in a good condition like this week. People, I'm sure, are always reacting to sticker shock. So it may just be a backup item, but I think it would be helpful to have some comparable build out per square foot for this kind of building, just to help people orient that if you're building this kind of building, this is what it costs. And I think that I think our architect has those numbers. So it may just be something to have handy for the question when it comes up.
No, that's a great point. Be happy to do that. Again, on a square foot base, on a square foot basis, I think we are, on the high side. But again, kind of where we're at right now, I'd rather be, in that position than be on the low side.
I also think we should remember that we may be on the high side because we are building an energy efficient building, which some of which, is going to cost more at this point, but you have to look at also then the life expectancy and what we're going to recover over the years that this building is going to be in use and in place. And so I think that's important to consider as well. Anita?
Yeah, thanks, Tom, for this really comprehensive PowerPoint presentation and for all of your hundreds of meetings that you've attended for the past 7 or 8 years. I have a question about the contingency numbers and just kind of like how you've built in, you've padded the budget in order to be conservative and stuff, and whether or not that was also the same numbers were also applied to the library numbers. I just want to make sure that they're kind of comparable in terms of what was added to this project as well as the library project, because then when we're presenting them, I feel like to the town, it's, we're kind of presenting sort of like a reasonable estimate that has grown, I guess, for these projected costs.
Yeah, I unfortunately, I can't answer for the library because I was not directly involved in the development of those costs, and to be honest, I haven't seen them. But I could certainly collaborate with Ellen and their consultants to see, compare to see if they carried similar contingencies in their cost estimates. So I had mentioned before about the cost escalation we carried to summer 2023. So that was a 6% escalation. So that's based on the estimate that was developed in August of 2022. We escalated out to summer 2023 at 6%. I'm not sure the library's on the same schedule, so I don't know that they would be carrying similar escalation costs. We carried a design contingency of 10%. That's built into the design, so that's in the construction indirect costs. I think you have that breakdown. It's a separate breakdown. I have a little bit more detailed costs. And then when you total everything up, then like I said, I threw on another 10% contingency. And that's been consistent with all the project budget updates I've given on this project over the years. So I've been trying to be at least consistent on this project, but I can't unfortunately answer how that compares to the library.
So Ellen has her hand up, Anita, and she might be able to also add some information to this. I do remember seeing from their cost breakdowns that I believe they're carrying a 10% contingency on the design. And I think they're also carrying a 10% contingency on the overall project. But Ellen, why don't you respond in more detail?
So I think we really want to caution voters that these are very different, unique projects. The 51 Main Street project is a new build, and the 50 Main Street Library has had 4 renovations and additions since the 1895 original building. We are all brick and granite and steel. So we are also putting in our budget all of the necessary percentages and line items that are mandated for us to receive the $7.851994 million of grant funding. So our contingency is likely to be higher because we are not a new build. We are, pulling apart a portion of the old building, and our contingency will be higher. We're certainly willing to meet with Tom, and we've had permanent town building committee representation all along, but they're not comparable building projects that are taking place at all. And we are looking at groundbreaking in spring of 24. So hopefully 51 Main Street will be coming to a close, and the library would be coming in right after that.
Anita?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks, because that is a point that I keep forgetting, that it's a new build versus working with the building and the look and feel and stuff of the existing library. The designs are completely different. So thank you for that reminder.
Okay. I don't see any other questions. Oops, wait a minute. Actually, Valerie has asked a question, which is, Valerie, thank you very much. It's a segue into hearing from Christine Collins. Valerie's question is, Tom, I know I asked this at Capitol, but can you speak to how the recurring operating costs of this new building will work into the town budget? So I think that sort of leads into both the financial impact of this of both this building and then the library for the taxpayer, as well as then moving forward. So I guess, Tom, do you want to answer Valerie's question? And then we can have Christine Collins speak to the impact upon the taxpayer.
Yeah, I have to, I don't have the.
I can have
estimated.
I can
Yeah, I don't
have Christine speak first. Go ahead, Tom.
I don't have the estimated annual operating costs handy right now. But as far as operating, how that would factor into the town budget, so I mean, so that would be, 24, so that'd be fiscal year 25. It would, that would be the operating budget that would be impacted by it. I mean, if you're looking for a number, the number was well under $100,000. I mean, it's, this is going to be a very efficient building. I just don't have that handy with me right now.
Okay.
It'd take me a minute to find
All
it.
right, that's fine. Christine, why don't we hear from you?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
We can, thank you.
All right, so we updated the presentation that we made to you and to the strategic planning retreat to reflect the updated figures for both 51 Main and for the library project. We also updated the presentation to reflect what we believe will be the new median assessed value for a property in Westford, as well as the total assessed value for the town of Westford for fiscal year 23. The reason that's important is that from fiscal 22 to 23, the overall assessed valuation is increasing 12.4%, reflecting all of the building increase, cost for building increases that has impacted the assessed value for properties throughout the town. The assessed value is part of the calculation for what it's going to cost per household. So it's kind of an important update. So I don't know, Eric, if you want to pull up the seven. All right, so this is just showing the impacts for the new center building. The project cost at 12,010,000, up from 11.4. The $1 million that we're proposing would be raised and appropriated instead of doing a debt exclusion for 100% of the project cost. And because the median home value, which we had at 551,000, is now 660,000, we are showing an annual impact on the tax bill of $81.59 in fiscal year 24 for 51 Main. I believe it was at about 77. Oops, Jody has her hand raised.
You're muted, Jody.
No, sorry, I did that. I wanted to pull up the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the impact on the tax bill for medium home for 51 Main is now estimated about $81.59 in FY24, and that will decline over time as the overall assessed value for the whole town continues to increase at about 3% or more per year. On slide 8, we're showing the changes reflected due to the project cost updates on the library, as well as some other information about the funding for the library. So the total library estimated cost at this point is $32,546,000 and $9. The sources that we're estimating: $23,375,756 in bonds, $7,851,994 from the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. That's that grant we've been talking about. 1.3 they're hoping to get from fundraising, and $18,259 is coming from CPA funds for one of the historic features in the renovation. The annual estimated debt payment has been increased to 1.6 million, and the impact on a tax bill for the median home is now looking like at about $158.61 in FY27. I think we'll just move ahead to slide 11. So on slide 11, you can see that the new center building on 51 Main, the annual debt service cost has been updated to $781,710. That's actually a little bit less than what we were estimating without the $1 million appropriation. but because the annual median home value has been increased up to 660, we're still seeing a little higher impact on the tax bill for those, for that building. For the JV Fletcher Library, all of the leading costs, like for FY 24, 25, and 26, we increased those estimated interest costs to reflect the new value. And you can see in FY 27 where those debt payments start to happen. Now, we would have an opportunity to structure the debt at the time when we issue the bonds to help smooth out those early years by perhaps putting a little heavier load on the last few years, which would be in a time period when the fire station would be paid off. So we always have an opportunity to try to smooth things out a little bit. This is just reflecting a level debt, okay? Next page. And this is Dan's beautiful graph that we just never want to slide right by, but it's just showing all the new stuff, all reflected with the new numbers. On page 13, so current projections are showing that in FY 24, the impact on the tax rate, including the new building, would be about $233.78. If you look back to FY 22, the impact on the average home at that time was about $302. All the way back to fiscal year 12 on the first column, $571.75 was added to the tax bill for all the excluded debt on all the schools. So you can see that from FY 12 down to FY 22, it declined. It's going to continue to decline. And even with adding 51 Main, we're still not back to where we were in FY 22. When we get out to FY 27, when the library comes on, you're seeing a total impact of $401.88. Now that's also including, you know, the Blanchard roof and the school administration buildings and a $1 million contingency. But let's just assume all that does happen. That's where I'm saying we may have an opportunity to smooth that out. It's going from 300 to 400 in 1 year, and we could perhaps find a way to structure the debt to smooth that out. But even at the rate of $401.98, we are still around the amount that we were paying in excluded debt in fiscal year 16. So we're not that far off our historical norms for excluded debt, even with these new construction costs. All right, so then on page 14, you can see that in FY 12, the excluded debt was $6.589 million. And when we go out to FY 27, even with the library coming on, we're still lower than that at 4.378. The percent of budget line, the last line on this chart, is showing that we're still in a nice range for our percent of budget. We're still hanging around in FY 27, 6.5%. The last time that I met with you and talked about this, the question was asked, well, what happens if we go below that? And I had said that I thought it wouldn't really move the needle because this is one piece of a lot of calculations. But I did confirm with S&P, who, while they reminded me they couldn't give us advice, they still answered my question. He said that it would be worse for us to go over 10% than it is for us to go under 7%. So that was his answer. So I think we're going to be still in very good shape, even at, you know, if we drop in the 6s and even high 5s. So that is all of the updates based on the changes. Are there any questions about that?
Tom Mahana, sorry.
I'm sorry, it was not a question for Christine, but I did have some info on the operating costs.
Okay, why don't you go ahead?
So just on the mechanical system, so our consultant that did the energy modeling had estimated that the annual combined annual expense for maintenance and electric costs, well, just now this is just mechanical systems. It's $31,000, about $31,500 per year. So other, so we'd have to factor in some other, some of the other minor operating costs like water, lights, and then include some figures for just overall building maintenance. But the major operating expenses for just the mechanical systems alone are about 31,000 a year.
Great, thank you. All right, Ellen, do you want to give us an update on the library?
Yes, so this evening, more than a presentation, we really need to make an appeal. Clearly, the cost estimating that has come back has been unnerving and much more than we anticipated. It's very small consolation, but we are one of a dozen waitlisted libraries waiting for our millions of dollars of grant money, who have found that our cost estimates have come in from 52 to 57% higher than anticipated. All of these 12 libraries have worked together with the town of Deerfield and the city of Amherst. We have reached out to the Board of Library Commissioners, who have met with the Joint Ways and Means Committee. So we're reaching out to the state legislatures, and even more than state ARPA funds, we're now asking that the supplemental budget designate some funds. In total, all 12 libraries see combined figures that are $87.6 million higher than they had projected out. So 12 libraries really represents 33% of the entire grant application group. Only 34 libraries were involved in the 2017 waitlisted library grant round. So we're very hopeful that the select board would be part of our appeal and support this. This would be one-time money, but it's one-time money that really represents either the success or the failure of, a state project, which has always been the best in local and state partnership.
So Ellen, what do you need, or what would you like? Let me rephrase. What would you like from the select board?
Well, the select board could write to the Joint Ways and Means Committee, or on westfordlibraryfriends.org, there is an immediate appeal that you can fill out as a voter, and it will ask our representatives to pursue this course for us. So anyone can do that, or you could make a more formal appeal that in the supplemental budget, our legislators fill this significant difference in funding that we are all seeing in the waitlisted libraries.
So it sounds like, and I can ask the board, that perhaps some sort of letter from the select board, both to the Ways and Means Committee, as well as to our state representative and our state senator, asking them to support funding either through the supplemental budget or ARPA funds for libraries would be helpful.
That is what we would like. It's
Okay.
waitlisted libraries facing shortfall.
Okay, you can send that to us so we have the right language.
Okay.
So I guess in connection with that, and I'll turn to the board, what are the board's thoughts and about sending those letters on behalf of Westford and really on behalf of all 13 libraries to urge our legislatures to support additional funding. Tom?
I would certainly endorse doing that. It sounds like it's a critical need and it's an unpleasant surprise. And so we should ask for all the help we can get. It's an important project.
I would certainly agree.
Yeah, I
Anita?
agree. I think sending the letter would be good.
Anita?
I support it too, and there is a really strong sense of urgency, I know, from the other towns, and anyways, happy to support this.
Yeah, and Ellen, you probably know, we have gotten a letter from, I think, from the city of Amherst. I think it was from the city of Amherst asking for the support, so.
Yeah. And I see Heather is asking, will the supplemental monies be known before October 17th town meeting? And based on the meeting that we all had with the Board of Library Commissioners today, unfortunately, the answer is no. I think everyone who's been in Massachusetts government a long time understands how far from a deadline a state budget can be reported out. So there's no reason to believe that there will be a supplemental budget before October 17th.
No, there certainly isn't, since they're not even in session right now. So I guess I'll turn to Jody and perhaps with your assistance, Ellen, in terms of drafting a letter that we can send off to these folks. I'm happy to sign it on behalf of the board. Jody?
Yes, that would be great, but I think a vote would be in order. So
Well, I was
yeah.
going to do that. Okay. I was going to do that. I just thought I would ask you first if you were with the assistance of Ellen, would draft the letter. Is there a motion from the board to support sending a letter to the legislature, to the Ways and Means Committee, and to our state's representative and our state senator supporting supplemental funding for the 12 libraries that are waitlisted?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor? Tom?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything else, Ellen, you want to present tonight or suggest?
No, thank you so
Okay.
much for your support, and we'll have a more complete presentation at annual special town meeting.
Great. Thanks so much for being with us. All right. I don't see any other questions. So moving right along to old and new business. We have a request to approve and sign the November 8th, 2022 special town election warrant. Is there a motion to approve and support?
So moved.
John, are you asking
I
a
have-
question or?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Shouldn't we, this question just seems to be like a general principle question. Shouldn't we have the amount that we're going to be asking for in this motion? In other words, question one would show the cost of the municipal building, and question two would show the cost of the projected cost of the library.
Jody?
Yes, thank you for the question, John, but no, the amounts are not supposed to be in the ballot question. The amounts are approved at town meeting. But the ballot question is simply a ballot question without the amounts in it. So the appropriation is done at town meeting, and the ballot allows you to treat it as a debt exclusion.
Okay,
Okay, so Tom made the motion. Does somebody have second?
Second.
All those in favor? Tom?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
John?
aye.
Aye. Okay, next we have a request to adopt the draft town of Westford Housing Production Plan for 2022 through 2026 as recommended by the Affordable Housing Trust and Planning Board. Jeff, I believe you are with us. Yes, there you are.
Hi there.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
we can.
Excellent, thank you. So first of all, what is a housing production plan? Just very briefly, it's a plan that helps municipalities understand or better understand their local housing needs. It has to be updated every 5 years. And it identifies both barriers and opportunities for developing more of this identified needed housing. And it provides a vision for future affordable and market rate housing. So the draft in your packet represents very strong team effort amongst the Affordable Housing Trust Committee. There's Housing Production Plan Subcommittee, NIMCOG, who provided some tremendous technical expertise here, and the Land Use Management Department staff. So we think it's a strong plan. It highlights a lot of goals and strategies, and it was recently supported by both the Affordable Housing Trust Committee and the Planning Board at their meeting of September 19th. And we're here as required to seek approval from the Select Board to adopt it and to submit it for approval to DHCD. We do have a couple of requested changes, the first of which to the draft that's in your packet. The first of which, after discussion with Affordable Housing Trust Committee, is we would like to include a picture of the Roberta McGuire Senior Residences, just an as-built picture instead of the rendering that you may see, because it's different than what got built. We would also insert the dates of adoption and submission. And then there's a couple of typos on Roman numeral page 4. There's a couple of errors that showed up from a formatting issue and an extra period. So we hope you've had a chance to review this. There's a lot of information in there, and we're here to ask for your support tonight. We're happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. And I just want to add my thanks to the subcommittee of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and also NIMCOG and the land use planning staff. These folks spent hours and hours and hours drafting this plan, and it's really a terrific update. It built on our past plan, but it's really a terrific update on that past plan, and also including some new information, but information that we all thought was really pretty vital to include. So thank you to all who participated in what I think is a terrific plan. And with that, I don't know if anybody has any questions. John?
Jeff, I had a question about on page 64, you say set aside Community Preservation Act funds to provide down payment assistance. Is that an allowable expense for CPA?
It is, and we've done it before.
Okay. All right. That's quite a read.
Okay, I don't see any other questions. So with that, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Tom?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So before we go on to our next item, I just want to read a comment that we got that addresses, I think, Tom, it was your question very early on in our meeting about what the flag represents for Columbus Day and what flag would be shown. So Marianne Fleckner has responded. And she responds, the Columbus Day flag is the Maltese Roman Empire cross in the middle, flanked by the letter F for King Fernando of Sicily and the letter Y for Queen Isabel of Castile. So there you go.
Thank you, Marianne.
Okay, our next item is to discuss our November and December 2022 Select Board meeting schedule. So in November, our first meeting is scheduled for November 8th, and our second meeting is scheduled for November 22nd, which is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving that we do traditionally meet. However, November 8th is Election Day, and we traditionally do not meet on Election Day night. So November has 5 Tuesdays in it. And in looking at the calendar and talking with Jody, we thought that we would move our November meetings to November 15th and 29th, if that is agreeable to the rest of the board. It still, spreads them out a couple of weeks. And also, as I said, we aren't meeting on election night. So if that is agreeable to folks, we can change our November meetings. And then in December, Jody, we had only scheduled one meeting, right? Initially?
According to Samantha, you did vote for the 13th and the 27th.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if generally you only meet one
Right.
day in December. So if you want to hold on the 27th and see if that's necessary.
I think that makes sense, but Anita, did you have your?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'd prefer to hold it, especially since we don't know how things are gonna go with the town manager search committee
Yeah.
and what approvals are needed. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that makes sense is that, we'll meet on the 13th and then, if we need to meet on the 27th, we'll, hold that meeting. Okay, Jody, do you need a vote on that?
Yes, please.
Okay, so is there a motion to change our November meeting schedule from the 8th and the 22nd to the 15th and 29th?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Anita?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye. And I don't think we have to vote on December because that's what our regular scheduled meetings are, Jody.
Yes.
Okay. The next one is to select board is to respond to questions from Municipal Resources, Inc. regarding town manager search. Go ahead, Jody. No, you're muted.
I think we did answer questions, but I think it would be important for you all to announce the salary that you've decided to offer. I think that would be good. And the rest is just meeting schedules. So I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, so the select board has voted and authorized a salary for the new town manager in the range of $210,000 to $230,000, which so folks know we didn't just pull this out of the air, was based upon a survey of town managers in the surrounding communities that we were provided with, and that we also went out and sourced ourselves. So based on those surveys, that is the range for the town manager salary that we have come up with and that we'll be advertising for and with. Jody?
The only other thing I would mention is that I think the search committee is getting ready to
Right.
meet within the next 2 weeks, and the ad should go out the first, hopefully, week in October for the town manager. So,
Right, and this, right now, we're in the process of trying to set up a meeting with the search committee with our consultants, and it's it's like herding cats, but we'll find a time. Okay. We have a request from the Economic Development Committee to appoint Alexander Mancuso as a full member for a term expiring on June 30th, 2024. Is there a motion to appoint?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor, Tom?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have a request from the town clerk to appoint election officers for terms expiring on July 31st, 2023. So is there a motion to approve, to appoint the election officers as listed in our packets tonight?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And all those in favor, John?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any board reports or updates? I don't see any. We have minutes for approval. We have minutes from our regular session from July 12th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve and release?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All those in favor, everybody just raise your hand. Okay, all right, and it's unanimous. And then we have executive session minutes from July 6th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve but not release?
Moved.
And second?
Second.
And everybody, all those in favor? Just raise your hands. It's unanimous. Okay, Jody, you're up. Town managers report.
thank you. So the first item is the request to approve amendments to non-union personnel policies and procedures, and I'm going to defer that to our next meeting on 10/11, if that's okay.
That's fine.
And then secondly, we have a request from the planning board to accept a gift and establish a gift account from Westford Balsam Circle LLC for construction of a sidewalk between the property entrance of Roberta McGuire Senior Residences and Liberty Way in the amount of $40,000. And if you have questions, I think Joe is here to answer them.
Anybody have any questions? Don't see any.
Okay. And then request to appoint Assistant Town Manager Eric Heidemann as acting town manager from Tuesday, October 11th through Sunday, October 16th, 2022. And I'll keep going.
Yep.
For grants, we have a request to approve the following: Executive Office of Public Safety and Security's Office of Grants and Research for fiscal year 23 National Highway Traffic Safety Administration funds to support municipal road safety program in the amount of $23,699.99, and contracts with the Middlesex Sheriff's Office for use of the Middlesex Sheriff's Office Regional Safety Holding Facility, Scott's Tree and Landscape for sidewalk snow removal in the amount of $36,500. Pathfinder Tree Services LLC for a one-year contract extension for tree removal, maintenance related services amount of $20,000, and purchase orders in Telebeam LLC for campus Wi-Fi network at Westford Housing Authority sites in the amount of $67,820. Green Mountain Communications for microwave dish and radio equipment installation from 55 Main to Prospect Hill Water Tank, the amount of $59,358.31, and Pipe Plus Inc. for catch basin and manhole risers in the amount of $15,000.
Anybody have any questions? Is there a motion to approve
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor, Tom?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, correspondence. Is there a motion to waive reading of correspondence?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And all those in favor? Raise your hands. It's unanimous. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor? All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you all very much. Everybody stay safe in Westford. Good night. Raise your hands. It's unanimous. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor? All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you all very much. Everybody stay safe in Westford. Good night. Raise your hands. It's unanimous. Is there a motion to adjourn?